Hey, I'm Heyzeus, and in this video we're going to be looking at Counter-Strike gambling sites that were complete bullshit. Skins gambling by its nature is kinda dodgy, but not all sites are created equally dodgy, and some of them are just total scams. And in this video, we're going to be looking at some of the absolute worst examples that got exposed for the entire world to see. Let's get into things. Now, this video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey, the trading site where you can quickly and easily trade your skins. Just log in, add your trade link, and you are good to go. All you have to do is select the items you want and hit the trade button. There's over 150,000 items to choose from, and if you use my code Heyzeus, you can get up to $5 off your first trade. And even if you're not interested in trading, the site holds free, daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways that you can enter completely for free. It's a great site, check it out, link is in the description. So the first site we're going to be having a look at is Drakemoon. This is a case opening site that launched in 2016. Basically, you'll deposit money on it through a credit card or PayPal, you take their cases for a spin, and then you get to withdraw all the cool skins you ended up winning. Simple idea, except this site was also fucked in pretty much every conceivable way possible. Firstly, its name is literally stolen from Nick Drake's third album. Secondly, all its cases are stolen from Pokemon, something we know Nintendo absolutely loves when people do. But the reason Drakemoon is in this video has nothing to do with copyright violations. You see, Drakemoon was a site that marketed itself very aggressively. It paid lots of influencers, it paid them well, and this meant it quickly got a big market share. And according to the YouTubers promoting it, you could profit from this site too. Here's Nick Bunyan, for example, explaining why Drakemoon is better than cases in CSGO.
The cases are made so you win better things than you would in regular Valve case openings.
Now, despite what Nick says, this doesn't appear to have actually been true, and the reason it's not true is that Drakemoon had this very special little strategy they used to increase their profit margins. You see, if you search up this website today, you will notice a rather interesting trend whenever people mention it. Hey guys, I want a Drakemoon, a Dragonlord, Fire Serpent, and Orion. I wanted to withdraw these items, then got a notification. Admin will approve your withdrawal in 30 minutes, and then my items disappeared. Well, I waited and waited and waited for a week, continuously trying to withdraw my items and never could. Yeah, Drakemoon never gave me any of my items. When I opened a ticket, they took 11 days to get back to me, and the response was, were you able to withdraw your item yet? I want a knife on the site Drakemoon. For those who got a knife too, can you withdraw it? I can't. Yeah, so Drakemoon were very happy to take people's money, but they weren't too keen on letting them withdraw stuff. It seems like the site had two different techniques to get customers to fuck off after they'd want something. Either they'd make them use a useless AI support system that would waste their time indefinitely, or they'd just straight up delete the items from their account. I mean, it's a perfect business model really. People give you cash and you run away with it. But this also didn't make their users terribly happy, and pretty quickly there was considerable pushback. Now, as you can imagine, this kind of negativity was kind of inconvenient to Drakemoon's business model where they stole money from children, and unlike a lot of gambling sites, Drakemoon liked to fight back. Complaining about them on Twitter? Blocked. Making a video calling them out? DMCA. But eventually, bigger YouTubers started covering this site. Richard Lewis and Raccoon Eggs both made videos drilling into it, and by mid-2017, it seems like Drakemoon had lost a lot of market share to rival sites. Sponsored videos also became rarer and rarer, possibly because YouTubers were starting to turn Drakemoon down, but one way or another, it does seem like the site clung on for at least 2 more years, at which point the URL appears to have been taken over by an idol site. These days, there aren't that many traces of Drakemoon left. Its socials are gone, and some YouTubers have covered up their involvement with it. But make no mistake, whoever it was that ran this site would have walked away like a king. The next site we're going to be looking at is CSGO Reaper. Now, Reaper is a site with a real legacy, and that legacy is creating some of the craziest trade banned accounts in the history of Counter-Strike. That includes Lucasello, the account that famously got banned with 200 Dragonlords. This account, which has been consistently in the top 10 on the most expensive leaderboards for nearly a decade, and this Souvenir Dragonlord, which the owner paid 60k for before getting it banned just a month later. But it also shows that whoever was running this site has some serious money to lose, and naturally the question is, how did he get it? Could it have been by running an honest gambling site that offered a great service and didn't cheat its users?
Are you serious?
So Reaper is a gambling site that dates back to roughly early 2015. There's not heaps left in it these days aside from a lot of videos of small YouTubers winning skins on it, but there is also some far less savoury accusations about the site floating around as well. In particular, in late 2017, a gambling YouTuber called Vodcax released a series of videos claiming that the site had a clever little trick they were using to increase their profit margins. Essentially, the site had a bunch of bots, and these bots knew the outcome of bets in advance before they happened because of the provably fair system. These bots would then bet against the users and win every time, and this meant the owner got to keep all these extra skins, which he was now free to go get trade banned. So in other words, he was basically doing Phantom Lord style fraud on an industrial scale. And in response to these serious accusations, the site did the mature thing, which was to block a bunch of people and then continue on like absolutely nothing had happened. The site ultimately didn't last that much longer though. In fact, in early 2018, the 7-day trade hold came through and kinda destroyed it. The owner did move on to a new project, a site called CS2 Skins, until that got hacked and shut down too. Or at least, they say it was a hack. It may have been an exit scam. Although, if you go to the CS2 Reaper URL now, it does claim that the site is under development and planning a comeback. However, it has said that for several years at this point, so I'm not terribly optimistic that it's actually going to happen. But what's remarkable about this particular story is that this scandal got very little attention, and this is probably because the website's owner simply didn't have enough enemies. And speaking of enemies,
I made a company 10 years ago with Killian, who stole my company. The second company I made, he bribed people to have my company shut down. The third company, Killian has been trying to do everything to take me down, get me arrested, get me killed. Killian is a f***ing psychopath, and these motherfuckers are Killian's minions, and I'm going to be taking down every single one of these motherfuckers.
So that's a video of Monarch, owner of the gambling site CSGO Empire, explaining his mission to destroy the business empire of Killian, the owner of CSGO Roll. But here's the thing, Killian isn't the only gambling site owner Monarch has fallen out with. In fact, Monarch used to be on good terms with another gambling site owner, a dude called Vlad Nov. So who is Vlad? Well, Vlad is the dude that the FaZe Clan guys set up CSGO Wild with back in 2015. Now, FaZe didn't stay involved in the site for very long, they just wanted money for a CS team, and once they got it, they cleared out. Or were screwed out of it by Vlad, it depends if you believe FaZe reign. And in any case, Vlad quickly got to work with pressing on with running one of Counter-Strike's premier gambling sites, or at least he did for a whole 6 months until Valve sent him a cease and desist in mid-2016. Faced with the wrath of the developer, he abruptly shut down the site, mocking the users who just lost their balance with an I cry every time website. But this was not the end of the story, because after a while, it became clear that Valve's cease and desist hadn't done jack shit, and gambling sites were continuing to operate everywhere without any problems whatsoever. And Vlad smelt an opportunity. So he bought back the CSGO Wild brand and began prepping the site for a major relaunch. He paid a bunch of YouTubers and streamers to promote it, giving away 6 Dragon Laws on the site's Twitter, and it all looked set to be a massive success. And then this guy happened. So despite running rival websites, Vlad and Monarch used to have a deal to cooperate with each other. This had worked well until it didn't, and now they didn't like each other anymore. I don't know the precise details of this, I'm sure Monarch would blame Vlad if you asked him, and that may well be the truth. But either way, Monarch took a good look at the new version of CSGO Wild, and what he found was not shocking at all. So it took 4 whole days after Wild relaunched for the expose to drop. The allegations were made by an account called Akka who worked for Monarch, and the tweet longer showed, with receipts, that brand new Steam accounts were gambling on the site and winning at statistically impossible rates. These accounts were so new they literally couldn't even trade skins yet, so they shouldn't be able to use the site. And this basically gave the game away. These were bot accounts being used by Vlad to win skins off his users. Or in other words, this was the CSGO Reaper scam all over again. Unlike the guy who exposed that scam though, Monarch knows how to destroy a business rival, and fucking hell, he destroyed this business rival. The accusations quickly reached a huge audience, and that audience clearly believed it. Skins YouTubers immediately turned on the site, and pretty quickly Wild was facing a massive backlash. Now, Wild didn't take any of this lying down, and they released a tweet longer where they claimed that the bot accounts were the work of a malicious hacker. Monarch fired back and claimed that the hacker had apparently intentionally lost his bets against large YouTubers. Also, apparently the Acker account got hacked and doxed around this time as well. What a wild coincidence there. And to be fair, I can't prove that this wasn't some kind of hack, but what is clear is that the community did not believe these excuses, and it took a whole 2 months for Wild to be shut down again. Don't worry about Vlad though. He made plenty of money. Anyway, this brings me to the final thing that's bullshit in this video, and that thing is literally every single case opening site. Every single case opening site in 2017. Anyway, I'm not accusing anybody today. This was the result of an investigation by leading Onapixel fan and skin lover Richard Lewis, and it is a very interesting article. Basically, most of these sites were being made by just one guy, and that guy went and gave all the information about them to Richard, especially their requests for features that were inherently dishonest and deceptive. Inherently dishonest and deceptive? No way! Anyway, this article laid out a lot of really dodgy shit. The most damning thing is the existence of something called grape mode, which allowed the site's operator to lower the real chance of winning something good to 0. For example, one site used this to change the odds after you deposited. If you were testing out the free skins, for example, you would have a normal chance of winning, but if you deposited money, your chance of winning would then be set to 0. Other accusations included fake items in the recently won feed, artificially manipulating the odds for sponsored content creators, sites intentionally not stocking items and losing items people want to avoid paying them out, and direct manipulation of the provably fair system. Now, to be fair, none of these accusations were particularly new. This was all stuff it seems like Drake Moon, for example, had been doing anyway, but what was new was just how many sites were accused of doing it. In fact, according to Richard's source, it was literally all of them. Now, Richard immediately clarified that he thought this might be hyperbole, but this specific accusation ended up generating quite a bit of backlash. Specifically, backlash from the content creators taking money from these websites. Now, to be fair to these content creators, having your sponsor vaguely implicated in massive fraud without any specific names being named is kind of an awkward spot. You can say, well, they shouldn't be taking money from these sponsors in the first place, but hundreds of people are doing it, so it's not really fair to single out anybody either. On the other hand though, I'm not sure if ranting about it on stream was the right thing to do either, and a lot of content creators went on rants about this article on stream.
I don't care about Richard Lewis's fucking article, dude. I don't care, bro. Like, I don't care, dude.
Richard responded by starting work on a series of videos reacting to this, although this series would end after just 2 episodes as the various VODs were rapidly deleted by their original creators, and in the meantime, Reddit decided they liked Richard again, and the article was widely discussed and well received. But what was the net impact? Well, the net impact was nothing, pretty much. In fact, some of the dodgiest case opening sites from 2017 are still operating to this very day, likely still doing exactly the same dodgy things. Still, I hope this video goes to show that exposing bad actors can work sometimes. Some bad sites got away with things, but others got completely fucked, and that is a good thing. And if anything else, I hope this video serves as a nice little record of some of the stuff that went down. Some of this information is getting quite hard to find now, and I wanted to ensure it's all available in one place. And if you did enjoy this vid, please like, comment, and subscribe, massively appreciated. Otherwise, trust the numbers, not your guts. I'm Heyzeus, thanks for watching, see ya.